Hey, hey, hey. I hope everybody's doing good. Carl Bryan coming at you. My boy Pat. Pat, are you there, bud?
I'm here. Hope you guys are doing well. What a great day it is.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All righty. Hopefully we got some questions. We finished up there on Tuesday and we had some questions we didn't manage to get to, or some hands were up. So if you got some action, that would be good. And remember, guys, Q&A call. You guys provide the Q and we provide the A. So in order to get rocking, we need some questions. So look at this. We got my buddy James here. Let's open up James. I'm coming for you, buddy. And again, guys, if you got any questions, either put up your hand or chuck it in the chat box. But James, I'm coming for you, buddy. You're self-muted. There we go. Yo, James, you're live. Hey, man, how's it going?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Can't complain. What's new in the zoo that way?
Yeah, how was the skiing?
It was good. Oh my gosh, it was better than good. It was awesome. Like so much fun. But that's all, you get out in nature and, just got to do your thing for 5 days in a row.
I hear you,
Looking
man.
like that. Yeah, it was good fun. Good fun. What about you? Oh, Ange, what's happening? The lovely wife.
I was just going to say, any future LPW trips, make sure they remain in, the hot weather with.
Yeah, don't worry. That you could rest your pretty little head on the pillow, knowing full well that will not change. I promise I won't take you skiing. Maybe take James skiing. Maybe not you. I'd love to watch James. James, can you ski?
Me? No, but I can roll down a hill very fast.
Okay, and he's invited. There you go. That makes it more entertaining. There we go.
Yes, I can roll at speed. That's all good.
But we'll look at
Two bananas.
Absolutely.
So give us the 101, guys. What's happening with Biz, and any questions for us on the software? Give us the 101.
Yeah, no, listen, so we'll start to have some conversation with business bankers in the area who are running teams whose clients are, in that high six-figure range.
Or multi-seven, but
or multi-seven. But really what I was hoping for, Carl, was if maybe you or Pat could give us some guidance on, if we're approaching these business bankers, like language that we might be able to use around how this software could help their clients. Does that make sense?
Yep. So the goal, basically it's a joint venture. You want to go to them and show them how you're going to be able to use the software in order to benefit their clients. Yeah?
Yeah. And these guys all have, obviously they're running their own teams.
What do you mean by that? They've got teams of bankers underneath them?
Yeah. So we've got one coming up the next week or two. Next Friday, where we're actually going on a Zoom. We're going to show the software to the business banker, their team. So they've got all their other regional bankers, if you will.
But I don't know if that's really the right, Carl. I mean, we've got 10 minutes with his team of, bankers, business bankers who are anyone who's probably doing, I would say they're probably doing anywhere from $500,000 to less than $5 million, this particular team. So what should we show them? What's going to get them excited? What's going to get them to understand? I mean, that's kind of a one quick question.
Yeah. Okay. So if I had, what do you mean by 10 minutes? Because if I had 10 minutes, my goal would be to create a 1 hour meeting, right? Like step by. So I wouldn't try to do anything in 10 minutes. I would try to lock in a 1 hour meeting with the 10 minutes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
So how do we get that?
Look, how would I do it? I would show them the software. I would give them the $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. Then I'd plunk in that we got 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences that then populate a roadmap that they can then use. And everybody's roadmap is going to be customized. And then I'd bring them back here and I'd do exactly what Pat just did. And I'd, I'd have something that was already pre-populated like this and say, let me give you an example. And then I would start talking about I would start talking about the left-hand side, and again, just upsell, downsell, cross-sell, proper upfront offer in a market dominating position. Just give some, 30,000 foot, vantage point kind of examples. And then I'd say, look, let me do it properly. Let's spend 1 hour to go through this properly. If you like what you see, what do you think? That's what I do.
Okay, so what we're doing is, so you're showing them, what you're saying is give them the one that's pre-populated so they can actually see what the outcomes look like, and then go a further call and maybe, with the actual individual and actually do a complete run through.
Yeah, exactly. But really good question because, so let's assume that we did exactly what I just described, and that's the 10 minutes is the overview. And then we got into the 1 hour. In the 1 hour, I would still have a populated roadmap like you're looking at here, because I just don't think that's the place to, you know what I mean? Because the banker has got butcher, baker, candlestick maker. He's got clients of all different shapes and sizes. So if I went through it and I was creating one, I think that there's a level of excitement that we would lose by not being able to explain how it works for all different industries.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd have it populated. Yeah, I would have one populated, but I would go in and, so Pat, can you maybe actually, here's a place where I would go with 100% certainty. Pat, could you go into increasing prices for us, please?
Right now he's in what, daycare? XYZ daycare. Okay.
Have you guys seen, do you know what I'm about to say here? Have you guys seen the increased pricing magic here?
No, I haven't.
No. Okay.
No,
so increased pricing. Oh, sorry, buddy.
Go, Carl. I've run this like 3 times with a prospect, and I've really stuck to the MDP, doing the leads, digital marketing, and compelling offer.
Gotcha.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I think you're going to want to add this one. Pat, so just real simple, you could imagine the questions at the top, right? And then we just skedaddle through, and then we end up here, right? Like it's like how many clients do you have? If we raised your prices by 10%, what do you think would happen? And then they think, of course, it's going to be a mass exodus, right? And poop themselves. Yeah. And then you go and then, okay, so Pat, how's this filled in here? 5.
You start at the top and you would say, okay, if we could create a perception of higher value and communicate to your customers, blah, blah, what percent could you raise your prices? And keep it conservative here. So here's 5%. So in this business, we got $50,000 straight to the bottom line. All right, so then I think you have to submit it then. And then this opens up. Given this increase of 5%, that would increase your net profits by $50,000, which is a 25% increase in profit. Approximately how many customers do you have for the account? So just read it. And they go, whatever, 2,000. So then if we could create this, read the question, and they go, how many of those 2,000 customers do you think would leave you? And they go, I don't know, maybe 20. Then you say, if you raise your price by 5%, you could lose 400 or 20% and still maintain the same net profit. Do you think that's going to happen? They're going to say, how'd you get that number? So you click on the charts, and these are your numbers here. And you got this little thing here explains how you get it. You get divide the original net profit by the new net profit per customer. So this is how many you can lose and still maintain the same original net profit. And then you say, Mr. Banker, if you actually did that and you did lose 400 customers, often those that you lose are often the biggest whiners and complainers anyway. They cause the biggest customer support, biggest drag on your customer support team. So if those people defected to your competition, you're able to serve your remaining customers at a higher level. Now, obviously, price is a sensitive issue, so we'd want to test this carefully. But you see how this could happen. You see how you could make some more money with this or whatever. So that's how I would address this.
Right.
You like that?
So Carl, because years ago when we first started with our franchise, we had this. It was actually a spreadsheet where it says, hey, if you increase by 10%, it goes up, and here's how many customers you could lose and still maintain the same amount of profitability. This is obviously much, much slicker, but yeah, that whole the methodology behind this is known to us. The strategy that we're looking at, Pat, just so you know, is we're going to get in front of a team of bankers. These are guys that actually own the clients. And the strategy was to then say, listen, we're going to allow you to make 5 potential businesses each that you guys manage. And we're going to take them through this. Right? So if I've got a team of 10 or 12 business bankers, and I say, you're going to get the opportunity to nominate 5 of your customers, we're going to walk them through, going to get the report, yada, yada, yada.
But again, remember, it's some of these bankers are cold to us. Obviously, their clients are cold, so we have to educate the banker.
Yep.
The manager of the team isn't cold to us, but the individuals in the team are.
Some of them, yeah.
Yep. And by the way, this is also where I'd be using the. Have you guys seen the prep video?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's what I do.
So that again, I'd be getting that in front of the banker most definitely. But I'd be doing that before that first meeting, that first 10-minute kind of thing.
Yeah.
Get them, and again, make sure to say, look, just I know you know nobody's got any time. Just do me a favor. If you want to make your clients a whole lot of money and make this really profitable for all involved, watch the video. You know, like again, just making sure that we're wording it in a super benefit laden way, right? Because everybody says, oh, nobody will watch the video. The reason nobody watch videos is because they're not positioned properly, right? And you guys know that. I'm talking to everybody here, right?
Yes.
But yeah, great. But anyways, look, I love it. I think you guys are going to crush it. But that's what I would do. Yeah, that's basically the rundown. And you know, and again, and you've already got your templated stories. Like again, guys, right? Like I'd have 3 stories in my back pocket that as I'm going over this, of course, those stories come out, right? Like story with a really great outcome.
Need a success story?
Yeah, Pat, maybe you're.
Let me just give you a couple of things that I would talk. If I'm talking to bankers, I'd use the word metrics in there, and I'd use the word conservative.
Yeah.
So when you look at these, I would say, 5% is fine. I would not go higher than 5%. And you can say, you know, sometimes you're going to make a change, and what happens is absolutely astounding. You might double your business with it, but we never want to inflate our numbers. So we want to be, you know, exceptionally conservative. So we'll just put in 5%. So you use that language. Also, Ask the Expert call on May 27th, 2020. We talked about the uniform impacts in the software. So when you go into that, you pull up this spreadsheet, and I believe it was not this one, the full assessment. You can look in here and you talk about, there's some numbers in here, some examples. So I'd go into these and I'm using these examples. So for example, digital marketing. And you say, look, if you're getting 1,000 leads a year from the internet, you could say 5% growth is 50 leads a year. That's 1 lead, 50 lead, that's 1 lead a week. You know, could we all agree that our junior high school daughter could get us 1 lead a week, right? So something like that, you know, so they just see that's like, oh, of course, that's really easy. So you just kind of give these, like, how would they get 5%? They think it's so hard to grow 5%. It's like, no, it's not actually that hard.
Right.
Right. Use these examples in the spreadsheet here. There's another one here that if you have 100 customers and 200 former, that's the reactivating. This one's a good one. This is the downsell. It's such an easy, like this one here, I love it. If you have 100 people walk in your door every day and only 20 buy, 80 leave without buying, just offer those 80 an out the door special. So you're going from 20 to 21. That's a 5% growth. You have a good out the door offer. Boom, right there. You're only going to get 1 out of 80 with a compelling offer. You're going to get a lot more than that. But let's be conservative with only 1 out of 80. That's 5%.
Right.
So I would use these examples in here, and I wouldn't take them through all these spreadsheets necessarily, but I just help them see that very conservatively you could grow.
I have to go back to school, so just to let them that. Yeah, this is excellent, Patrick. Excellent.
Good. All right.
Kubernetes, does that help, guys?
Yeah, no, perfectly. Yeah. We're so we've already got one lined up. I think the second part of that question though, Carl, was, how do you approach someone who, how would I approach someone to make this offer of getting in front of their team to do this? Have we had anyone who's been doing this within the LPW?
Sorry, I don't quite follow. James, ask the question again, please.
I'm thinking about positioning language is what I'm really thinking about.
Yeah, not to the business owner, it's to the JV.
To the JV for this. Specifically
okay,
business.
Yep. And then how to position it to how to position the software to the JV?
Yeah.
Well, what's the relationship with the JV? What are you going to do? What's the relationship with the JV? Are you paying them, or what's the scoop? What's the banker going to get out of it?
As an example, no, it's typically, if it's a financial planner or a banker, it's a partnership. They're not getting anything other than increasing the value to their client.
Yep. You might want to think about that one, right? Just making sure, sometimes it's not straight, $1,000 a client or what have you, but you know the story, right? Incentives matter. So I'd be thinking about something you could do for them, and certainly something up front, like, an expensive bottle of wine or something, flash straight away. That's not what you're looking for, by the way, but that's just something I'd be definitely thinking about, right? Butter them up a little bit.
Sure.
So no, look, the positioning is the same. It's because again, the more successful their clients are, the more, the more successful they are, right? By default, yada. So it's really the $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. Like, they're going to introduce you to the business owner, and they're going to get the kudos, right? Like, that's really the positioning. Because who else can put that value proposition and back it up with software and a roadmap and 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences, et cetera, right? And the answer is nobody. So that's really the positioning is, fundamentally the same. It's just directed a little bit differently, where you're talking about them looking good and their clients really benefiting wildly.
And quickly, I think, Patrick, if you can show on here some of the marketing tools to get some of that language. I know you've shown it before. It shows like a lot of LPW resources. Where is that again?
Okay. Yeah. So go into your home page, your dashboard, go home, and then click on resources.
Yep.
And scroll down here, software marketing assets. They're all there. There's a few of them there anyway. So
software marketing. Okay, that's what I want to make sure, because I did look through that. Okay.
All right, guys.
Thanks.
Okay. Appreciate you guys. Awesome. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Let us know, when's the meeting with the bankers?
Next Friday.
Next Friday.
Okay. Keep us posted.
Yeah. Good luck.
Oh, what's that, Ann? Sorry, I hung up on you.
No, I said good luck this weekend. I think you've got the.
You beauty. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much. Take care, guys. All righty. What are we doing? We're going to Brian Whitehouse is up next. Brian Whitehouse, you're self-muted, buddy. You got to unmute yourself.
Hello.
There he is, Brian. You're live. Hey.
All right. First of all, I'd like to say thanks to Pat for the video to our websites. That was great. I've got a question on it, though. Is there a way that we can download that video to where we could use it on other social media forums like Alignable and meetup groups and things like that? That was my first question.
Yeah, I think you can just why don't you just put a link, because you want to be bringing them to your website. You want to get a little bit of traffic to it and whatnot.
Okay.
Get a few people signing up. Yeah, that's what I'd say to that. Yep.
The second part after that is there a way that we can make like a pop-up button that'll link to like our time trade, to where that they could go ahead and after they watch the video, just go ahead and sign up for an assessment?
I think that
we already did. Yeah,
I think it's already done. We looked at this on Tuesday, and we looked at some sites that were already done.
Well, I tried mine before this, and there was no button afterwards. It just kind of ends.
Have you provided the support guys your time trade link or your calendar link? Make sure you've done that.
Yeah, I'll have to check on that.
Yeah, make sure you've done that because that might be the problem right there.
Yeah, and then the last thing was in the video itself, it talks about, to the people that are watching, something about a Facebook crystal ball.
Yep.
And I don't ever remember seeing that anywhere.
Sure. If you go, this was originally taught on the April 15th. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. April 15th, Ask the Expert call. So if you go back in there, it's in there. So you can find that there. And are you attending the weekend event? Or starting tomorrow?
Are you going to be there tomorrow,
Brian?
We're losing. Yo, Brian. Okay, we lost him, I guess.
I was going to make a joke that there's trouble at the White House, but
that's his last name for anybody wondering. There you go. Well done, Pat. Love it, dude. Love it.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, so did we answer? So yeah, Brian, just go to that. What was it? April 15th?
April 15th, Ask the Expert.
April 15th.
I was going to say that, one of the bonuses, I think it's if you get with Adrian today, you can still sign up for this starting tomorrow. But one of the bonuses is the financial book that we've been promoting as well. It's like 110 pages or 115 page book. And it's got all this in there as well. The Facebook crystal ball is in there, the whole teaching on that. So you'll be able to teach your clients that.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, there you go. So make sure you get that. Yeah, guys, if you're not booked in for the weekend event, and getting a little bit tight, but of course there'll be recordings, but you should be all over that. But anyways, okay, cool. Brian, you are handled, buddy. Billy Dixon. You're self-muted, buddy. There he is. Billy, you're live.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Fabulous.
Good.
What's going on?
Awesome. Just wanted some tips. I have my first virtual focus group coming up next week.
Boom. Good luck. Awesome.
Yeah, any pointers you guys can give? I'm all ears.
Okay, well, that's a hard, memorize, first pointer is memorize, be really comfortable with the content, right? The more comfortable you are with, because one of the first things I'd say is try to be a little bit entertaining, right? But if you don't know your content, you're not going to be comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, you're not going to be able to be entertaining, if you know what I mean, right? Or not as, it's not going to come as, and you certainly don't want to turn it in, you go the other way, right? Where, God, the guy's really funny, but damn, he didn't know his stuff. You know what I mean? So there's a balance of that, but know your material is number one by 100 miles. And then again, try to, as best you can. And how do you be entertaining? Just back and forth a little bit. When somebody's actually talking, you're actually listening to what they're saying, so you can respond in a, entertaining way. You know what I mean? No doubt that's pretty obvious, but I'll tell you, I've been on, 1,000 webinars, and very rare is it that someone will be, entertaining in any way, shape, or form. So that's an important one. Anything specific does that help? And anything specific you're looking for?
No, that's very helpful. Yeah, those are great points. The other question I had was I have a one-on-one PAS coming up with a real estate agent.
Yep.
And I wasn't really sure because real estate agents, I guess, are a little bit different in my mind than some other types of business owners. So I wasn't sure what some key areas in the software that I should hit with her.
Yep.
Aside from the market dominating position.
Yeah, it's the same stuff. Let me tell you, the best, you have a realtor, the number one strategy that they will have is the whole thing's based around referrals. So I got to tell you, having a party for the guy who sells the house and then having a party for the guy who moves into the house, or guy or gal or family, whatever it is, like leaving the neighborhood and then welcoming them to the neighborhood is an unbelievable way of getting referrals, and they very rarely do it. But anyways, but that being said, you just follow the regular, everything's there. Where you go, Pat, are you going to something specific? Yeah, there we go. Oh, referrals, I see.
Yeah, I'm in a Jumpstart 40, and under more leads, you got referrals there. So you've got the opening, and you've got 5 or 6, let's see here. 5 questions there on referrals. Yep. So this is something that I love because you talk about referrals, it's, a lot of people don't have a system, or they don't have multiple systems. So if you just ask a question, hey, can I get a referral? It's just a question. But if you ask it at the same time of the buying process or the engagement process, it becomes a system. And you can have multiple systems for getting referrals. I think when I first started my own consulting company back about 13 years ago now, I really built out multiple systems for referrals, and I had 15 or 18 different systems I was using for referrals. I wasn't using them all perfectly, but I was getting referrals, and that was the main thing. So you can just start brainstorming different ways to get referrals, different things you could do. There's a few listed here on the, but I think in the, let's see, if we go into implementation calendar and we click on referral systems, let me just dive deeper. So there's different ways here that you can, who can refer prospects, and you've got quite a bit of information here that you could use here. So
the nuts and bolts, but yeah, you just follow, Billy, just feel comfortable that a realtor, and I'll tell you something else about a realtor who's really they follow, it's like a professional service provider. If you introduce me to a mortgage broker, an insurance guy, a financial planner, a business coach would fall into it as well. Their follow-up, if they're any good at it, their follow-up sucks, right? Because it kind of falls into that. If you can sell, you can't coach, and if you can coach, you can't sell. I say that often, and obviously that's a little bit black, it's black and white for something that's quite gray. But that being said, you'll find, when somebody's really good at sales, they'll tend to be pretty disorganized. It's kind of a 101. So helping them on the back end get organized with stuff like, CRM, and just helping them with their follow-up will make a monster difference in their business. Because remember, that's what it's all about, right? The process is designed to get them closed, and then your confidence bringing that across when you're sitting with them is what's going to allow you to get them to whip out their credit card and say, look, let's do this. Just feel really comfortable that those 2 referrals and, helping them with their follow-up, you'll be able to help them insurmountably, just big time. It's a 101. So anyway, so that's what I'd say to that. Does that help at all?
Yeah, that does. Thanks.
When's your meeting with them?
It's going to be next week, Wednesday.
Awesome. There we go. Well, good luck, buddy. Good luck. You never sat with a realtor before, I take it?
I did, but mostly focused just on lead generation.
Yep.
Like running Facebook ads.
Yeah. So, and just another one but again, realtors on average, if a realtor lives in a $300,000 condo, you're going to find they're selling $300,000 condos. And if they live in a $500,000 house, they tend to sell $500,000 houses. And the big commissions depend upon where you are in the real estate, but there's significantly less realtors going after the $1 million plus properties than are going over the 300, 500,000. So again, helping them, that's psychology, quite frankly. That's another little X factor there with working with realtors.
Nice.
Cool, man. But anyway, just feel comfortable. You just follow the Jumpstart 12. And before you do it, though, as Pat always says, make sure you practice. Don't just go in there blind, and do your homework. Before you go in there, spend a solid, 1 to 2 hours researching how to grow just Google it, right? How to grow a real estate practice. And, you're going to see some different folks having some different viewpoints. There's going to be some in there you're really going to like. Just put those in your back pocket so that you kind of throw out some examples like I just did with you.
Nice.
Cool, bananas?
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, Billy. No worries, buddy. I'm going to put you back on mute. All right, who's next? Dave McKenzie. Before I go to Dave, Pat, anything you'd throw in there with realtors? I should have thrown it to you there, bud.
Well, market dominating position is always one thing, and there's always those people. There's like people in Kelowna that 29, they'll sell it in 29 days. Or they'll sell it for free or whatever, or they'll buy it from you. There's always people that come out with those amazing ones, but I think referrals are so important. The drip campaign, then, if you're going to follow up, you got to have some way of doing a drip campaign with people. So, I just focus there.
Agreed. All right, Dave McKenzie, you are live. Hey.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Good. I was doing a client that's already signed up, and I'm doing a deep dive 40. And one of the things we get into today was raising prices. Now, this company is a $5.5 million company with a 34% gross margin, but only a 2% net margin, which is extremely low. So when I do the 2.5%, minimum price increase, it shows him to be at going from 110 to 385,000 in profit, which was a huge percentage raise. And it's, I guess, the thing that kind of I almost hated going there was he could afford to. He has 2,000 customers, could afford to lose 1,111 customers. But he had a huge dispute in that because of his overhead.
Yeah.
Okay. If he dropped that
Pat,
many customers, his volume is going to go way down, and yet his fixed costs are going to stay the same.
Yeah.
I would just
Pat,
say,
what would you say to that?
Yeah, I just say, well, you're not going to lose that. I mean, what percent increase were you going to raise the prices?
2.5.
Okay. What's the industry they're in?
Cleaning supplies.
Okay, so it's a commodity based, which is probably, I don't know. So I think with some educational marketing in there, you do that. You show why their supplies are the best.
Yeah, we're working on market dominating position and all that. And that's a big part we've come up with. He's a leading edge educational process, so that's good. I can't believe his margin's that low. I mean, one of the things I said to him today, we need to do it. I asked him about his accountant. He said, and I know his accountant on a personal basis. Yeah, Chris comes in here for about an hour at the end of the year, and we don't really get into much. And I'm thinking, holy shit. So,
but Dave, this is where, and for everybody listening, this is like dream client, right?
Oh, because, I know. The guy's paying.
Of course, he could lose 11. Yeah, he could lose 1,100 clients, but the whole idea is that's designed to disrupt them, right? That you could lose 1,100 clients, man, and still make the same amount of money if we did this, right? It's not, like Pat said, it's not realistic to think they're going to lose 1,100 clients.
No, he didn't think he'd lose any of the 2.5% increase.
Yeah,
but
I guess he's pushing back. Yeah.
Then you get into, well, no, I got my fixed costs and that. But I guess then I said to him, whoa, we need to do a financial audit. If your accountant's only giving you an hour a year,
I know
you've got other issues going on. So
just for everybody listening, though, I'd like to say that this is unique. But it got, what did he, 5.5, what'd you say? $5.5 million company?
$5.5 million, yeah.
Yeah, that fits, and obviously the guy, if they've got 2% net margins, the guy's no financial whiz, otherwise he'd never end up there.
Exactly.
And only sitting with his accountant for an hour a year, it's just, it's on a level of 1 to 10 of stupidity, it's the 78, right? But it's happening. But the good news for you is that all you need to do is profit margin. It's not Facebook ads. It's not sexy, delusional, anything.
No.
This is just sitting down and thinking value add. Again, value add. And they need to create some, some different services where they can get, 40, 50, 60, maybe more percentages, right? Like, 'cause they've got a big client base that's loyal to them. You know, you want to be stopping by, just like you got a company that cleans pools for a living. Again, you want to provide the chlorine and whatnot, but you want to be showing up and putting it in, managing it, and opening and closing the pool twice a year, right? Like that's got huge margins, and the chemicals have low margins. So,
well, we just identified if each salesperson added 25 new customers a year, it would be a $1.5 million impact on the business. And so, I mean, the opportunities are huge, and he's in the right industry. When he first did it, and I said to him today, this is our third meeting. I've known the guy for a while. He's a customer on my profile side. And I said to him, I says, there's something wrong that, you know, of all the customers I deal with, you're doing $5.5 million. And you only got a 2% net margin. There's something wrong. And that's what I said today. I said, we need to do a financial audit of your company. So that's going to be our next step.
So I'm just looking at this here and realizing that if I just put a 2% increase on your price, and if you do that, you've just doubled his profits.
Yeah, exactly.
Incredible.
But on the same time, it wasn't the doubling the profit. It was the fact that he could lose 1,100 customers. And he said, and that's why I just thought I'd bring it up. He had 2,000 customers. So, you know, I just thought I'd bring it up to the, you know, just kind of discuss it a little bit tonight, because, you know, he was like, well, you know, if I lost that many customers, it would throw my whole whack. And you're doing 2%, it's 1,000 customers. So, you know, he's saying if I lose half my customers, my fixed overhead is, you know, it's going to be thrown right out of whack. And so,
but he'd have significantly less fixed overhead if he had half as many clients.
Yeah, rent trucks, warehouse people, salespeople.
Yeah, far less trucks. Far less,
there's,
you know,
there's some of that to a certain degree, but you couldn't eliminate it completely.
Let's agree on that one. But all you need to do is be thinking value add. And in your job over the next 6 months is to take this guy's margins from 2 to 5%, and he's going to put you on the list.
Yeah, and so which is going to be easy, really. Like once we get into it, there's got to be something going wrong that is, and you know, one of the bad things about it is he pays his salespeople 30% of their gross margin, so they control the prices. So the idea today was, you've got certain items that they're doing at a 28-30% margin that should be at 60. You just need to establish a price on that. So, you know, anyway, that was just the only blip in it, showing how many customers you could lose, which was not a totally. And then he said, well, if I raise that my prices that much, I got to pay the commission on it too. And I know it's hard to control that, but anyway.
Cool. I love it. And Dave, you'll be presenting on the weekends. Remember we opened you up there.
Looking forward to it.
Was it last month? You had your $40,000 month. We said, let's do it.
Cooking right along. It'll probably be at least that big, maybe bigger this month. So.
I love it. Good stuff. I said to Dave, you know, so look, you know, we got to get you presenting, yaddy. And he's like, well, all I do is follow the system. I'm like, Dave, you're going first. Oh my gosh. I'm like, couldn't said anything better. Are you kidding me? Anyways, I love it. We're looking forward to your presentation, Dave. Are you excited?
I am excited. Yeah. Ready to rock and roll.
It's good.
Okay, buddy, going to put you back on mute. Appreciate it. Mark Reed, we are coming for you. Mark, where are you? You're going to be, there he is. He's unmuted. Mark, you're live.
Oh, hello. I guess Pat saw my question there.
No. Tell us.
Okay. I didn't realize my hand was up. So basically, I've got a prospect. He's actually an associate's son who's a doctor, and I have not talked to him yet, but he's got a situation where evidently he's losing quite a bit, like 30% of his sales of his clients due to collection fee. His accounts receivables are in terrible shape. And so I've been doing research, and I'm going to end up getting with him, I'm pretty sure, here in the next week or two, because evidently it's 100,000 plus that he's lost out on over a certain period. I assume it's a year. It may not be. It may be more. But anyway, I was wondering if PASS or even LPW has anything on helping with collections, because that's evidently a part of dealing with every client, no matter what industry you're in.
So
yeah.
let me take this.
Oh, go, Pat.
So this guy's a doctor and he's losing money to collections. Is that right?
Yeah, quite a bit. And I've only heard this secondhand from his dad, who's
Okay.
an associate of mine.
All right. Now, the one thing
I don't know the details.
Okay. So something that really stunned me a few years ago, I studied marketing around the world, and just really systematically trying to figure out how different businesses in different countries are marketing their business. Because if we can figure out how a dentist in Australia markets his business, we can get leverage into what we're doing. So if you look up on the line, I think there's a guy named Paddy Lund in Australia, and he's a dentist in Australia that he was losing a lot of money through bad customers like this who would go to collections or whatever. He actually had a nervous breakdown at one point and came back in the business and said, we're just changing everything. And so he fired I think he fired, what was it, 2/3 of his customers, like all the ones that had problems with, wouldn't pay their bills, whatever. And then like he basically locked his door. And then he gutted his reception area and he put in a bakery. So you think when you go to a dentist, you have that nasty smell. Well, now he's got a bakery and he served his customers in Royal Dalton China with tea and all that, and treated them right. And he said, look, we're going to make an agreement. I'm going to keep you, but you're going to pay your bills on time. You're going to show up on time. You're not going to be late. You're going to bring me referrals of people, equal to yourself. I'm not going to cause you pain. I will always see you on time, blah, blah, blah. So they had this agreement with his clients, and his business took off so fast.
Right.
He made so much money. He hired other dentists to come and help him. But I look at that and go, oh my goodness, well, what could we do? Or what could this doctor in your case do? And it might be that he's just positioning himself wrong in a wrong way, or has the wrong relationship with his clients, that they feel like it's not important that they have to pay him.
Right.
And so I think there needs to be a re-examination of his offering and his marketing and his communication with his clients, that they come in, they realize it's actually a privilege to come and be seen by this doctor, but they have this agreement or a covenant between them that they're going to pay their bills when they're seen, whatever. And I mean, if there's some kind of billing that goes out, they've got to have that as well. But I don't think it should go to collection agencies that much. I mean, maybe in the rare case, but 1 or 2%. I might be totally wrong, but
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I had an experience as a new quality manager way back in the day in another life that I went and talked to the finance manager, and he was having problems with accounts receivables, and I was able to look at the data at his files, work with his associate, and we figured out the problems right away. It was nothing. So I'm looking forward to this, because a lot of times, like you're suggesting, is just how is he managing the debt? Does he have a good system for doing a accounts receivable aging report, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Good. Carl, how about you? What do you got there?
Yeah. So, well, Keith, you got to make sure that, like, if it got that out of control, and again, we don't even know this, you're going to have to sit down with him. This is coming from his dad, right? So it could be right, could be wrong. But very importantly, like, he needs that, just think of like a real simple Google Doc or a spreadsheet where his accounts receivable needs to be itemized. Like, $100,000 sitting on a balance sheet is completely useless to him. What he needs to be able to have is, this guy owes this, and then age, 30, 60, 90, 120 days, and then beyond. So he knows exactly who to go and tackle. Because no doubt you understand that if you take this guy on as a client, you should do exactly nothing. It's much like we just talked to Dave about. You should do almost nothing except just hammer down on that accounts receivable. And I'm talking about to the point where, depending upon what level and how enthusiastic you are about working with this guy and what the numbers might, look like long term for you. But, you go in there and literally sit down with him and hammer this thing out with him. You sit on a
Right,
phone, he sits
right.
on a phone, and you're calling everybody. Imagine how cemented that coaching client's going to be when you go and do it, because you're going to tell. It's not like he hasn't thought to do it. You know what I mean? That's like, he's not an idiot. It's just something that he's not getting around to. So this is where it's coming in.
I would assume
What?
I would assume he's attempted 5 Ways to Sunday, but if it's big enough problem ongoing that he's talking to his dad a problem, that means he hasn't solved it.
I would bet the other that he thinks that he's, you know, his idea of attempting is making a phone call and, you know, maybe sending out a letter, and he's done nothing. That's what I would bet. Yeah. No.
Okay.
And a doctor, his personality doesn't want to be chasing money, right? And you don't go to doctor school to, like, you know, that's salesman type stuff, right? It's the way that they feel. Right. So no, I would say it's the opposite, which is good news, because that means it's going to be that much, you know, sometimes people just forgot or whatever it might be. But in some cases, it's not going to get collected. But again, problem is that it, like, do you understand, like, accounting, that lives on his account, like on his balance sheet, accounts receivable. He's paying tax on he probably doesn't realize this. He's paying tax on that $100,000. Right?
Really?
It's an asset.
I didn't know that.
Exactly. It's like, are you kidding? Yeah. He's paying tax on $100,000. He's paying tax on $100,000 that he's never going to get, and that he's not attempting to collect. Right. So a few things is just, it's a 911 kind of emergency, right? You got to go in, you got to get it sorted out. You need it itemized. You need dates and, you know, the individual that owe, and then the dates in 30, 60, 90, 120 days is normally the way it's kind of laid out in the old accounting world. So I'd be doing that. Another thing is Peter Lawson, who's been a client of ours, and he's been a client for like 11 years. He's an accountant, a 30-year accountant. I just finished writing a book with him. In fact, actually, that's not true. We finished writing the book 9 months ago, and we haven't put it out, but it's ready to rock and roll, and it'll be coming out any day now. But anyways, he's got a system for doing that. So after you have spoken to them and you feel like this is something you really need, I know Peter Lawson take a phone call with you any day of the week if we ask them to. So maybe if this is something you need some further help with, past what Pat and I have just gone over, it might be worth speaking to Pete and then ask him what he used to do, because he was an accountant. He would have clients in the same position. So he had a program around it. So that might not be a bad idea. Conversation with him.
Okay.
But
thank
that's
you.
What I would say.
I'm real comfortable with talking to the doctor about this, and I've got the experience of doing failure mode effectiveness analysis and all kinds of things to hone down on the 80-20. And so that I'm looking forward to doing, but I don't have the experience that you guys do of dealing with clients to that tune.
Okay, but you'll have it soon, and just feel comfortable. There's no rocket science going on here. You'll nail it. Easy done.
Okay. Thank you.
Easy done. Awesome. Okay, buddy. Cool Banana is going to put you back on mute, and my buddy Juan Velasco in California. Juan, you are live. Hey. How goes it?
Doing fantastic. How are you guys? Just enjoying everyone's questions.
Beauty, good to have you here, buddy. What's the question, man? How can we help you?
Oh, sounds good. I had a question on. So, I was talking to a person today. He's kind of like a CFO, but he manages about a restaurant group that owns 17 restaurants. They're kind of on the urge of, they took a big PPP loan, and like a few $100,000. So he reached out to me through LinkedIn, and he's trying to get some other perspectives. And I was talking to him today, and obviously I talked about the software, what we can do. He doesn't have any other strategies. What would be a guide on how the heck do I help? And it's one owner that owns a chain of 17 restaurants, right? And obviously they're in a dire situation up here in the U.S. What would be a strategy that I can use a PAS or, to kind of go in and, kind of give them a different perspective? It's 17 restaurants. Do I do 17 PASs or do one, large one?
Oh, no, you just do one. You just do one large one, right? Be careful taking on a client with 17 restaurants, right? Like you gotta coach him, not 17 individual restaurants for your fee, right? That's an important one. what kind of restaurants? Like, what's the value proposition? What do they do?
So they're all Mexican restaurants. So they're all,
okay.
you know, yeah. So some are fast food, some are kind of family style. They do have a theme, kind of like the Day of the Dead. You know, it's kind of, I guess the concept came from Mexico. He's been in business for a long time.
Yeah. So look, apart from, you know, if you just, I don't know if you ever heard, I wrote a case study and a couple of emails. So if you just Google my name, restaurant case study, you're going to see exactly how I would help a restaurant. And there's two emails from 2 different days. I don't know what they were. It was when I first started my email series. So just Google that and have a look. And there's about 50 different ways to help a restaurant and a bar. Boom. Does it have the bar, by the way?
Yes. And then like one of the biggest struggles we were talking about, obviously up here, because they're all in California, so they're all,
yep.
We're going through the lockdown up here.
Yep.
So one of the transitions was, like I've heard a couple restaurants are doing just commercial kitchens, getting rid of their brick and mortars. So I was just trying to see if, like within the PAS, obviously, give them some options.
Yep. So look, just just read that case study. You're going to see exactly how I go about helping a restaurant. But like I said earlier, just if you just go through the process, like the questions will work for every business and you could literally use them in order, right? Market dominating position. They need a way to separate themselves, right? On Sunday, they should be doing kids eat for free. And these are during normal times, of course. Again, he's got some challenging times right now, but kids eat for free on Sunday. You're going to find he's going to fill the joint, then get just picture Elmo dressed up, high-fiving everybody. Again, in this day and age, we can't do that right now, but Elmo's there, kids eat for free. Of course, the parents eat, right? Because no kid's not coming on his own. And then dad ends up staying around and watching some Sunday night football a lot of the time. If it's got a bar, that kind of thing. So just some of those strategies, which are pretty much all outlined in a couple of those emails. A little bit outside the box, and ironically enough, again, I was thinking about this a few hours ago. I was just listening to a video, but here's an example. If I owned a restaurant, it's a business that I nearly went into a number of years ago, but prepackaged, if I owned a restaurant, and just think business model as I described this, right, which very few people have a proper business model that really works. If I owned a restaurant, I would probably use it as lead generation for my prepackaged meals that I supplied for families throughout the week. Right? So I would use my restaurant as foot traffic, and then I would convince them all to start buying prepackaged meals. So just think, packaged lunches for kids and dinners for mom and dad and the family at nighttime. And again, it's a little bit outside the box, but this is an example of a different strategy and one that they should be thinking about. Because if you owned a restaurant and I owned a prepackaged meal business, your ceiling is significantly lower than my ceiling. In other words, the cap on your income, because you can only have 100 people at a time. There's no limit to the number of meals that I can put out to families. That make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I never even thought about that, Carl. Yeah,
absolutely. So it's just thinking business model. Again, Facebook is a freebie to basically sell advertising, right? Google is a search engine that sells advertising and then totally disrupted advertising by creating pay per click and then making us guys that want to advertise on it bid to get the terms as they became more popular, right? So just thinking freebie. So many different examples of that I could give you. Again, if I owned a web design company, I would build websites for free. I would have no less than 10 advertisements, 10 ads running at all times. There would be subject to you filling out a form, but you basically fill it out. I would give away 10 $2,000 websites per month, but really that would be lead generation for me to get on the phone and say, well, you don't really need a website. You need this. And then I would sell them my services, either as a business coach, as a business consultant, as a digital marketer, whatever. And I would build 10. I'd hire somebody in Indonesia to build the 10 websites, but that would be my freebie to, basically, get her, get the wheels turning. And then I would do 10 free websites a month, to be clear, right? That's fine. But the 10 of those 10, probably 3 or 4 would buy something significantly more expensive. And then some of the people that contact you would not be right for the $2,000 website. So you'd be selling them a $10,000 website or above, right? So the bottom line is my freebie would be a way to bring in higher end sales. So, and that's where the idea of the restaurant being, like, if I owned a restaurant, it would be something like a front to do pre-packaged meals. And I was literally thinking about it like a few hours ago. I was sitting there going, that would be a good, so it doesn't matter what it was about, but there you go. Does that help? But that's the way I'd be thinking. And I'd be thinking that if I was a personal trainer on Monday, I would, be at the local park or at the local gym or wherever, and it would be a freebie, and you would come, and then everybody who would come after the class, I would try and convince you to buy my personal training services, right? If I was a business coach, I would do a free event at the chamber, and everybody who came, I would say, do you want me to sit down with you personally? And I would plug you in. So I would put all of my efforts in putting 10 people a week into a room, and then a percentage of those, say 3 and 10, would buy my business coaching. And the only question is, will I be able to hire enough, will I be able to get a team of coaches together quick enough to take all the demand? So freebie to high-end sale. That's what I'd be doing. Make sense? Oh, 100%. And sorry, so I just forgot up. And the restaurant, I just the very simple, like every one of those I just described are fundamentally the same. And the restaurant, like I said, it would be a front for a prepackaged meal service. And then they can really have a business.
Yeah, long-term business, especially, I mean, it would fit into the model nowadays where obviously, majority of people aren't going out to eat.
The pandemic doesn't affect that business at all. It increased it. So.
All right. You just blew my mind. Thank you, Carl.
Two bananas, bud. Does that help? Pat,
awesome.
Before I shut him off, anything you'd add there, buddy?
No, that was awesome. I love it.
Awesome. Cool bananas. Okay, cool bananas. That's a good question, Juan, because like I said, I was literally thinking about that earlier. So glad we got that out. You beauty. I'm going to put you back on mute, buddy. And guys, we are at 4:01. Actually, hang on. We got to take one more question here. Scott Gibbs, my boy, he is self-muted. There he is. Scott, you're our last question. How's it going?
Hey, it's going great, Carl. How are you? Quick question. I keep forgetting to write it down when you tell me, and then my brain gets foggy. Where is the actual explanation of the Facebook crystal ball? So we mentioned it in one of the new videos.
Yeah, April 15th, Ask the Expert call.
All right, thank you. It actually tells what's it actually do? Like what it tells you all about it, or I mean.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half. It's an hour and a half training on finances, but it basically just walks you through like how your client wants to do a Facebook campaign. And before you press go, you can pretty much determine whether or not it's going to be successful. Much like do they have a high unit of sale? It's a big part of it, right? So, Dave earlier, he was talking about his client who's got really, really, really slim margins. Well, that guy doesn't want to advertise on Facebook, I can tell you. And maybe he does, but he's going to want to create, a high-end service. Like, again, so if I'm think of just a pool company, if I'm doing chemicals for the pool, and that's a great business to be in, and that's recurring revenue and a business that's a good business to be in, but you also want to be doing the higher end servicing of the pool, right? With high margins.
Sure. Yeah, understood.
So if you have a very low margin business, you'd want to be very cautious advertising on the internet. Or another good example is a business coach. In fact, I think there's a question in Facebook right now asking about running Facebook ads, right? But again, see, you could, but like a business coach can only, if you don't have any coaches working for you, you can only take on 15 clients and you're maxed out. So a business coach advertising on Facebook, because people get, again, you know this, Scott, and some of the others more experienced do, but it's not for the faint of heart, right? You don't advertise on Facebook and magically everybody signs up, right? Like you need to create a heavyweight, like an excellent campaign that converts, and that takes some time, some energy, some expertise. And if you just took that same time, energy, and expertise and built a relationship with an accountant, a business broker, a bookkeeper, the radio station, the magazine, and the newspaper, you'd never, you know what I mean? You'd have more clients than you could ever keep up with, because again, you max out at 15. You
Right.
lose one, you go find another one.
Okay.
So,
Last question. Quick question.
Yeah.
What time do we start tomorrow?
I don't know. I don't know. Pat, you have any idea? I'm going to assume it's 8 or 9 o'clock. But if you check your emails, Adrian should have sent everything out. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not sure. But I'm going to guess 8 or 9.
It's 8 o'clock is welcome and overview. Yeah, the email came out, let me see on mine, 2 hours ago. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
That's why we got Pat here. Scott, keep us organized.
All right. Thank
Among
you.
other things.
All good?
Thanks, man.
Cool. Okay, Scott, we're all good?
Yep, I think so. I haven't seen the email though, so I'll touch base with Adrian.
Okay, but it'll be well and truly coming out. Cool bananas?
Yep, thanks.
Awesome. Okay, there we go. All right, Pat, well, we're 5 minutes over, buddy. Any famous last words here for our crew from the
Just
one
a reminder,
genius,
actually.
Patrick Bell?
Next week is hosted by only you, Carl, because I'm going to be on flights. I'm leaving the DR. I'm heading to Atlanta to get COVID tested, and then flying over to Kenya, assuming we're negative. My family and I, assuming we're negative, we're going to head over to Kenya and going to be working out of Kenya for the next 3 months, and possibly longer than that, but at least 3 months. So just so see you guys in a couple weeks from the other side of the world.
Bingo, bango, bongo. That's been the dream. So we're all excited for Pat and his family. It's going to be fun. And he's got to go to Atlanta to do it, which he's very happy about. Let me tell you, he's very pleased about that Atlanta trip.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
that's the way
anyway,
times we're living in.
But I'll just be on the road on next Tuesday, Thursday, so I won't be able to tune in there.
That's good. So no technical questions, folks, unless you want to stump me. So there we go. All righty. Okay, bud. Well, Pat, we appreciate you, man. I'll be speaking to you before that, no doubt. But safe travels, buddy, on behalf of everybody here. And
Thank you.
For our folks, we appreciate you guys and playing full out, asking some great questions. There's a couple questions we didn't get to. Again, I apologize, but just come raring to go on Tuesday if you can. Okay, so for this Thursday, that's it, folks. Goodbye.